Hello, sports fans! Welcome to another episode of ShoutStone. I am here in the empty arena in free play mode, ruining the grass. Look at that. I am disgraceful. The American taxi shows no favor to grass. Anyway, now that we are back, last time I went over some of the fundamentals of Rocket League. But now what I'd like to do is talk a bit about being a team player. I don't want to call these videos like tutorials or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. They're not really tutorials. It's kind of like the way I think a good player should act and react. You know? I don't want it to feel like I'm the teacher and you're the student and everything I say is just as important as what anybody else says. It's not. I'm dumb. But anyway. Being a team player. There are 3 game modes that require team cooperation. 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4. Obviously in 1v1, do whatever you want. If you're out of position, it's your own fault, but you can only be defense or offense one at a time. Now when you're on a team, regardless of the team size, you have to be mindful of everything going on in the field. Let's get a good look of everything. Yeah, that was good. Feeling nauseous now? Anyway, that means being mindful of who's on defense, who's on offense, where you should be, where the ball is, and what the other team is doing. That's a lot. It's a lot you gotta be aware of. And it's stuff that, while I say you gotta be aware of it, I don't even necessarily mean that you will be constantly doing that and have to be in a constant state of alertness. That's not the case. What you do have to do is a lot of that stuff is just going to be reflexive. You're just going to know by looking around what on that list you should be doing at any given time. So the thing that I touched on last week to kind of start this off was initial positioning on the kickoff. And I said if you were really far back here, generally your goal is to be defense. You know, protect the goal at the very least during kickoff, but don't just charge in even if the situation changes immediately. Feel it out until you are comfortably able to move in and make a strike. But what if you spawn in different places? What if you're a little bit more forward? Well, unless you're all the way back, your obligation is really not to play defense on the attack or on the initial kickoff. The goal when you're any other position is attack the ball. But you have to do it wisely. Now the initial kickoff is always going to be some kind of cluster. Or, for my more adult listeners or viewers, a clusterfuck. There you go. It's going to be crazy because you're going to have cars boosting in at full speed, all colliding with this ball. Somebody might touch it first, send it in the air. Somebody might send it into the wall in the corner, or maybe even arc it right into the goal. You never know. So, that initial... You can even relate it to billiards and say it's the initial break. You know, you don't know where the ball's going to go or what it's going to do, and you really don't have much control over that. You just got to hope that you can get there first and make that first touch, so that you are the one who dictates where the ball goes. So with that in mind, don't charge in just willy-nilly and try to get a handle on the ball. You know, even if you just hang back and wait and see where it goes after the collision, you might even put your team in a better position than the opponent team. Like, let's say a typical 3-on-3 match. You're going to have one player who's probably going to spawn all the way back by the goal, and 2 who are going to spawn in strike positions. Let's say, like most teams, both of those players on the strike charge in to the ball, whereas the one player holds back and waits to see what happens. But let's say you hang back, and only one of your teammates charges in on the ball. What you can do at that point is, if your teammate gets it and puts it on the opponent's side of the field, you can now charge in and get a smooth move towards picking up that ball and potentially getting a goal. So, for example, you know, it's hard to really demonstrate the kickoff in a single car mode. But, you know, like, let's say you're charging in and you kick it. Okay, great. The ball goes arcing into the corner. You can now come in and dictate where that ball is, where it's going, hopefully. I was in a bad position to kind of really demonstrate that. But you can get it into a better spot and control where it's going to go and how it's going to react. And you might even be able to put it in the net. You know? There's no real way to say for sure, because a lot of it's going to depend on any number of factors. But you don't want to leave it up to chance if you can avoid it. You know, try to make those plays, but make them wisely. So that's the first thing you want to do as a team player, is just try to get that advantage over the opponent. And another thing that I think is really helpful to be aware of when it comes to this game is not to rush it. One of the things that rookie players do constantly is just focus on the ball and apply constant pressure. Pressure, 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 pressure. And that's all they do. They're just attacking the ball all the time. Attacking the ball. Attacking the ball all the time. Flipping, attacking the ball. Careening into the corner, boosting, attacking the ball. Ball. Get ball, get ball, get ball. You know, that's the mode that a lot of players are in. Get the ball. Get the ball. See the ball? Get it. Got that ball? Get that ball. Score the goal. Not even necessarily, but get the ball. That's the focus. Don't always get the ball. That's not the goal. The goal is not just to get the ball. The goal is to get the ball in the net, yeah. But it's also to get the ball into position. Why do you think you get bonus points when you center the ball? That's a proper soccer play or football play, is to center the ball. Because here's the thought, you know, when you're on a team, if the ball, let's knock it down into the corner. That's not exactly the corner I wanted. There we go. Let's knock it into the corner. I'm going to try and just sort of stop it here for a second so we can talk a bit. Let's keep it simple, guys. Keep it in the corner. Come on. Stop rolling. Unfortunately, once the ball is off of its little pedestal, it does not stop moving. It just keeps very lightly drifting wherever it wants to go. So I'm just going to try and be a blockade for it a bit. Okay. Alright, good. There we go. We got it to stop. So, let's say the ball's in the corner. So, if you're playing on a team, one of your teammates can start making a push down the center, like where I am. Let's turn that off for a second. One of your teammates can start making a push down the center of the field. Your job can be to come in from the side, and I say this is your job, but really it's either way. One person's job is to come in from the side and center that ball. Get it into the center of the field. Because if you do that, you're going to be able to set your teammate up to then make a play on getting it in the net. And of course, that's the goal. And that's also a goal. But regardless, the point being, you should not constantly be trying to put the ball in the net. Work with your team to set up plays. Because most players are probably not going to be setting up much in plays. They're going to be playing that get the ball, get the ball, get the ball, get that ball. Did I get the ball? No? Get the ball. Did you get the ball? No? I'll get the ball. You know, that's the mode that they're in. But if you are taking your time to try to set plays up, you're going to be in a way better position than the opponents are. Because they're going to be 3 cars trying to get a ball, while you're going to have one in perfect position for a cross to sink it. So, yeah, a lot of the gameplay mechanics and rules feel a lot like football, you know, like actual soccer. So, it's something to really be mindful of when you're playing this game. What is your position on the field, just like a football player? What is your position relative to the ball, relative to your teammates, just like a football player? You just don't have to worry about shit like offsides. So, with all that in mind, you can take that knowledge and kind of go forward and build a better team. Obviously, if you have a proper 3-person or 4-person team and you can all be on some kind of voice chat like Skype or TeamSpeak or whatever, then you're probably going to be in a way better advantageous position than any other team playing, because you'll be able to coordinate attacks, coordinate positions, and not have to rely on that nonverbal, which a lot of teams will, because many of them are just kind of thrown together. But, you know, as this game evolves, as the esports aspect of it evolves, that's going to be a big part of it, is communication with your teammates. So, use that. Utilize it to find positions. And even feel free to utilize it to establish roles on the field, like actual positions, like you would see in a regular sports team. You know, this is football. Get a goalie. Get people who will play defensively. People who will be strikers and offense. You've only got, you know, a limited amount of people, but you can still play it relatively the same way. So building a team is important. Always playing with your team in mind is important. And especially when you're doing pickup games and just the really quick little exhibition things, because most of your team is going to be playing that same kind of attack the ball style of game. So your job is to try and be better than that, and try to play better than that, and try to do more for your team to hopefully set something up. You're probably not going to be able to do any fantastic, you know, great plays or anything, because it's hard to communicate that sort of stuff. But, you know, there's a little bit I guess you can try and pull off. So, that's all. I just wanted to stress that importance of always being a team player when you're on a team. When it's one-on-one, do what you want. That's going to do it for this episode of ShoutStone. I'll be back with some more Shoutcasts and other stuff in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Feel free to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. I will talk to you all again very soon. Until next time.